There's an ancient Chinese parable about an extremely wealthy man who had everything he ever desired, including answers to any of the questions he could ever come up with in life. But one day he found himself getting older and sicker, and he knew that his days are numbered. But he didn't have the answer to one of the most basic questions: what comes next? What comes after this life? So he decided that he would seek out the local mystic, who was known to live at the top of the mountain right outside of the village. And so the next morning he woke up early, put on his hiking boots, and he set out to climb that mountain. It took hours and hours and hours, but eventually he came to just under the peak of the mountain and found a cave with a sort of mist rolling out of it, and he knew this is where he would find the mystic. And so he walked in and greeted the mystic, and he said to him, "Sir, I need to know what comes after this. I will pay you whatever you want, but I need the answer to that question." And so the mystic said, "Follow me," and walked into the mist, and the man followed. The man looked around and realized he was no longer in the cave. He was no longer on the mountain. Instead, he found himself in the most beautiful banquet hall he had ever seen, with tables from end to end, with nothing but the most delicious foods from all around the world. And he knew this must be heaven. So he turned to the mystic and he said, "If this is heaven, show me hell. I want to see how horrible it is." And so the mystic walked out of the room. The wealthy man then follows the mystic into the next room and immediately notices it's just a carbon copy of the first room. It's the same magnificent room, the same magnificent tables, the same magnificent foods. And he says to the mystic, "Sir, I can handle it. I want to see hell. Sir, show me hell." And the mystic just puts up his finger and says, "Wait." And just then, men and women, all looking completely emaciated, come filing in and around the tables, and they find their seats. And the man is looking on and he's thinking, they have all this food in front of them. Why do they look like they've never eaten? Until he realizes that each one of them is only given one eating utensil, and it is a pair of chopsticks 5 feet long. And so, as they reach for their food and try to reach it back to their mouths, they keep missing, and the food is flinging over their shoulders. They are surrounded by this gorgeous, amazing, delicious array of foods, and they can't partake of any of it. And so then the mystic leaves the room, and the wealthy man follows him out the door, back into heaven. And at this point, heaven is now filled. And the sounds of laughter and conversation fill the room as people sit around the tables. And the wealthy man notices that each of these people is armed with the same basic utensil, a pair of 5-foot-long chopsticks. And he stays and he watches as they reach for their food and then reach across and feed it to the person sitting there. Each one taking care of the other. And as they're taking care of their neighbor is feeding them. And so they are becoming satiated, while their only concern is to feed the other. And in this world, we find ourselves surrounded by things that should be pleasurable, by things that should satiate us, that should make us feel full and fulfilled. The problem is that so many of us are trying to shove our own face full of the foods using our 5-foot chopsticks and not realizing that that's not how you fill yourself. The journey to being truly fulfilled is to focus on feeding others. Thank you.